Hi everyone. Welcome back to another exciting video. I'm Jennifer from 90 Day Insider, and I'm here to bring you the latest news, drama, and behind-the-scenes updates. Let's dive in. Elizabeth Potthast and Andrei have always been one of the most talked-about couples in the 90 Day Fiancé world. Their constant arguments, culture clashes, and ongoing tension with Elizabeth's outspoken family made them instant reality TV stars. But what if the drama we saw on screen wasn't just about love, money, or jealousy? What if it was also about a strict TLC contract that kept Elizabeth trapped in the relationship? That's where the rumor of a $50,000 fine comes in. Fans have speculated for a long time that TLC contracts aren't exactly normal. Former cast members from other 90 Day spin-offs, like Happily Ever After, have said that the network sets strict rules about what couples can and can't do while filming. But with Elizabeth, rumors suggest her contract was even harsher. If she chose to leave during filming, she might have had to pay a huge fine. Imagine being in a relationship and knowing that if you wanted to walk away, you'd be forced to pay $50,000. Your personal life would no longer belong to just you. If you wanted to separate, divorce, or even publicly step away from your partner, you'd face a major financial loss. So why would TLC add something like this to a contract? It's likely about ratings. TLC builds long, emotional storylines. Once they start filming a couple's ups and downs, especially over multiple seasons, they don't want the story to suddenly fall apart because of a breakup. And for Elizabeth and Andrei, the stakes were even higher. They became a major part of Happily Ever After. Their story wasn't just about their marriage, it involved Elizabeth's whole family. Her father, Chuck, and her siblings also became part of the show. If Elizabeth left suddenly, all of that would fall apart. Insiders say the $50,000 fine might have been TLC's way of protecting their story and keeping the show going, even if the real relationship was struggling. But this brings up a dark and painful idea. Was Elizabeth's happy marriage on TV real? Or was she staying because of a financial contract she couldn't escape? We've all seen the emotional scenes. Elizabeth crying, Andrei fighting with her siblings, intense family arguments at cookouts. Some of those moments seem too real for TV. The question is, was Elizabeth free to leave? Or was she stuck because leaving meant paying a fine bigger than most people's yearly salary? Fans on Reddit and YouTube have looked closely at her behavior. They say there's something off about how she acts in interviews. Some say she seems nervous, or that her answers sound too rehearsed, like she's being careful with her words. It's like she's walking on eggshells. Other cast members have hinted at the same thing. Paul Stale has spoken about TLC's tough contracts. Devin Clegg from 90 Day Fiancé, the other way, once said she felt trapped by her contract, even when things weren't going well. If this is common, then the fine in Elizabeth's case might not be a rumor at all. It might be the truth. If it is, then that changes everything. Elizabeth wasn't just a reality star. She may have been stuck in a business deal where her marriage was used as a product. That $50,000 fine could have forced her to stay quiet, to follow the script, and to keep up appearances. Think about it. What if the dramatic arguments between her and Andrei were real, but she had no way out? What if her tears weren't just about relationship stress, but about knowing that leaving wasn't even possible? Andrei has always acted like the one in control in their relationship. But if Elizabeth was scared of losing all that money by speaking out or standing up for herself, it puts things in a different light. Then it's not just about love or family. It's about control, contracts, and money. Some fans also believe this is why Elizabeth and Andrei stayed on the show for so long, even when people said their storyline was boring. Maybe they didn't have a real choice. There are even small clues. Elizabeth has mentioned in cameo videos or on Instagram that she can't talk about certain things. Back then, it didn't seem like much. But now, fans think she might have been hinting at something bigger. If she was under contract and facing a $50,000 fine, it would explain a lot. TLC has always said their cast members sign these contracts willingly. But other reality TV shows like MTV's The Real World and Bravo's Real Housewives have been accused of similar things. These kinds of contracts can be very controlling, leaving cast members with very little power. If Elizabeth's contract really included a rule that said she had to pay $50,000 if she left her husband during filming, then this isn't just about gossip anymore. It becomes something serious. Is TLC keeping couples together just to protect ratings, even if it hurts their mental health? Is Elizabeth's marriage real, or is it a result of legal pressure and fear? If she really gave up the right to leave her husband without facing a massive fine, that's not just a contract, it's a serious ethical problem. This would mean TLC wasn't just filming her life. They were shaping it, pushing her to stay, using money to make her follow their story. That's no longer entertainment. That's a kind of control that's hard to imagine. Even if she's no longer under the same contract today, the weight of that fine may still be hanging over her. What if her whole marriage was shaped by that contract? What if the smiles, the drama, and the appearances were all part of playing a role for the camera? If Elizabeth really was trapped, if her marriage wasn't fully her choice, then everything we've seen for years may not have been the full truth. And that's something fans and the reality TV world shouldn't ignore. 90 Day Fiancé isn't real. Fans want answers. If the truth about the $150,000 fine ever comes out, it could seriously damage TLC's reputation more than any fight we've seen on screen. To understand how big this fine might be, we need to look closely at each season, each fight, and every moment. It seems this $50,000 fine was more than just a number on paper. It might have quietly affected everything Elizabeth did on the show. As fans watched Elizabeth and Andrei's rocky journey on 90 Day Fiancé, happily ever after, they first thought Elizabeth's actions were because of pride or love. But what if it wasn't just that? What if TLC's contract was secretly controlling her? There were times when Elizabeth seemed ready to argue with Andrei, walk away from fights, or skip family events, but she didn't. Some moments suggest she couldn't just do what she wanted. For example, in season 3 of Happily Ever After, Elizabeth and her dad Chuck had a big fight about Andrei's money choices. Cameras showed Elizabeth pulling back from heated talks and biting her tongue. Fans on Reddit noticed her body language. She looked stressed, avoided eye contact, and sometimes left conversations suddenly. What seemed like normal reality show tension might have been her thinking about the cost of pushing back. Walking away could have meant paying that $50,000 fine. People say TLC producers might have quietly reminded Elizabeth that if she left or refused to film, she'd owe the fine. This gave producers more control and forced her to act like she was okay, even when she wasn't. Another time was during the family vacation, when Elizabeth looked like she wanted to leave. On camera, it seemed like she was upset about Andrei or her siblings, but behind the scenes, insiders say there were secret rules. While most fans only see the drama on TV, producers keep private records of how well cast members follow the contract. So Elizabeth staying calm during fights or doing certain scenes might not have been her choice. Sources connected to production say TLC contracts often have behavior rules. If a cast member refused to follow the story, it could cost them a lot of money. Saying walking away has consequences might sound small, but with a $150,000 fine, it becomes a big, stressful weight. A former TLC crew member said off the record that producers often reminded stars about their duties, but didn't threaten them directly. For Elizabeth, whose career, reputation, and money all depended on the show, leaving Andrei wasn't just hard emotionally, it could ruin her financially. Fans also looked for clues on social media. They think Elizabeth's careful way of speaking and controlled behavior were her way of staying within the contract, but trying to keep some freedom. Sharp viewers noticed she sometimes avoided answering questions about her marriage, changed the subject when asked if she wanted to leave Andrei, and sometimes looked like she was acting. Could these small signs be because of legal limits? Fans think the $150,000 fine wasn't just a warning. It shaped the story we saw. On Reddit, many believe Elizabeth's sudden mood changes, from angry fights to calm moments, were influenced by TLC editors. Her actions often fit what producers wanted for the show. Big arguments followed by emotional peace. Knowing that leaving Andrei could cost $50,000 would cause constant stress. This isn't just a guess. Psychology shows financial punishments strongly affect decisions, especially under pressure. Money has always been a way to control people. For Elizabeth, it might have been the most powerful silent weapon. Add in the pressure of being on national TV, cameras Always Watching, and family drama, and it's scary to think every argument or pause we saw could have been because she was scared of losing that money. How might TLC have enforced this contract? We don't know the exact details, but there are some guesses. One way could be holding back part of Elizabeth's pay until she finished everything the contract said. Another is public embarrassment. If she refused to follow the contract, producers could edit the show to make her look bad, pushing her to agree. Producers could also give indirect reminders during meetings or friendly advice to keep her in line. With the $150,000 fine hanging over her, Elizabeth's choices were limited both financially and socially. Behind the scenes, the cameras sometimes cut away quickly during fights. This might have been to hide moments when Elizabeth threatened to leave. Reports say crew members stayed close during family fights to make sure Elizabeth didn't take breaks without approval. The filming schedule also forced her to live with Andrei a lot, making it harder for her to walk away. All these methods, plus the $50,000 fine, suggest a scary truth. Elizabeth might have been forced to keep up the marriage for TV, both by law and mentally. It wasn't just Elizabeth who felt this. Andrei and the family were also caught up in this system. Some insiders say TLC producers quietly directed Andrei's behavior to keep Elizabeth filming and keep the drama going. The Pott family, known for being fiery, might have been used to pressure Elizabeth even more, keeping her tied by money and emotions. This fine wasn't just a punishment, it was a plan to make sure she followed the story that brought in millions of viewers. In this light, it's hard not to wonder what was really going on behind the scenes. Many of the famous fights fans loved watching were not just natural family drama. They might have been carefully planned because of the $50,000 fine hanging over Elizabeth like a sword. By the end of several seasons, it's clear that Elizabeth's on-screen personality, the loyal wife, the fiery sister, the emotional daughter, was only partly her own choice. Underneath all the drama, there was a silent but costly rule. The $50,000 fine she would have to pay if she left Andrei wasn't just a number. It was like an invisible cage that shaped her feelings, her decisions, and the stories millions of viewers thought were real. Fans wonder how much of what we saw was true, how much was caused by money pressure, and what this means for TLC's responsibility to protect the freedom and mental health of its stars. From the first seasons of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Elizabeth POTUS' small actions, tense fights, and strange comments hinted at something controlling her. But what if the real control was the $50,000 fine that threatened her freedom? Fans now have a chilling thought. Elizabeth wasn't just a reality TV star, she was like a reality TV prisoner. Fan theories reached a fever pitch. Reddit fans noticed that Elizabeth's explanations often didn't match casual things she said in interviews. This made people think her contract was controlling what she could say. Online communities blew up when fans started putting together small moments. Elizabeth sometimes avoided questions about leaving Andrei or about her happiness during Instagram live videos. Fans remember the famous Thanksgiving episode when Elizabeth looked unusually calm during a family fight. This made people think TLC used the fine as a way to control her behavior, keeping her tied to the money so producers could control how she acted, whether that was acting loving, staying calm, or even causing drama. Could it be that behind the scenes she was thinking, if I walk out now, I owe $50,000? The tension was strong for people working on the show, but invisible to viewers. Fans also believed the timing of fights and making up was no accident. Reddit users guessed that TLC's producers made sure Elizabeth stayed on track because of the contract fine. If she went against the story, her money would be in trouble. Viewers saw a pattern. Big fights would happen, but they were quickly followed by emotional makeups. There are possible legal issues here. Reality TV contracts can be strict, but a clause that punishes someone for leaving a marriage might not be legal because it interferes with personal freedom. If true, experts say Elizabeth could fight the contract, saying it forced her against her will. The $50,000 fine raises big ethical and legal questions. Coercion. If a contract forces someone to do something they don't want to do, it can be invalid. Emotional harm. Being legally stuck in a personal relationship can cause mental suffering. Public responsibility. If this was made public, it might lead to more investigations into TLC's contracts and how they treat stars. Elizabeth might not be the only one affected. Other cast members with similar contracts could speak out, causing bigger legal problems for TLC. Insiders say what crew members have whispered for a while. Cast members' behavior is closely watched. Some former crew said, on condition of privacy, that producers often reminded Elizabeth about the financial penalties in their talks about what she needed to do. Filming spots and crew schedules were planned to stop cast members from rebelling. Stories stayed on track because editing showed them following the contract. The $50,000 fee was the silent enforcer, making it look like Elizabeth was carefully watched. The emotional toll is huge. Fans noticed Elizabeth's rare emotional outbursts, which might have been stronger if she wasn't scared of losing money. The human cost goes beyond legal or production problems. Imagine living your life knowing ending your marriage could cost $50,000. Though the fine was invisible to viewers, it hung over every fight, every emotional choice, and every family moment. This gives new understanding to Elizabeth's behavior on TV. Her careful answers, careful words, and rare smiles might have been ways to cope. The bigger consequences for TLC are serious. If the $50,000 fine is true, many questions come up. First, do reality stars really have freedom? Or do they have to follow harsh contracts? Second, how many other couples in the 90-Day Fiancé shows are secretly forced by money rules? Third, if money controls behavior, should people trust the honesty of these relationships? Fans feel tricked. They say TLC cares more about ratings than the freedom of its stars. Many want legal checks on cast contracts, saying a $50,000 fine for divorcing isn't just wrong, it might even be illegal. Social media is full of concern. Reddit and YouTube are full of angry comments. Elizabeth's last chance. Was she truly free? Looking closely, Elizabeth's marriage on TV might not have been fully hers. The threat of $50,000 could have shaped every choice, fight, and makeup. Andrei, the family, and the production team were all part of this complex control. Fans are left wondering, did we ever really see the truth? After all the drama on screen, many fans feel betrayed by what might have been hidden from them. They loved watching Elizabeth and Andrei's story, rooting for them through their fights and moments of happiness. But now, with the possibility that Elizabeth was trapped by a contract clause threatening her with a $50,000 fine if she left Andrei, it changes everything. It makes fans ask, was any of it real? Or was it all a carefully managed performance, forced on her for ratings and profit? This revelation strikes at the heart of what reality TV promises: unscripted, genuine moments. If producers are legally and financially forcing cast members to stay in painful situations, can viewers trust what they see? Is reality TV just a show with fake rules that bind the people on screen? Many fans on social media have expressed outrage. Posts on Reddit and Twitter are filled with questions and calls for answers. Some say they feel sympathy for Elizabeth, recognizing how difficult it must have been to face such pressure. Others are angry at TLC, accusing the network of exploiting real people's lives for entertainment, using contracts that might cross ethical or legal lines. The outrage has also sparked wider discussions about the treatment of reality TV stars. For years, viewers have suspected that producers manipulate storylines, encourage conflict, and control what makes the final cut. But a financial penalty tied to personal decisions like divorce is something new and deeply concerning. Reality TV stars, unlike actors in scripted shows, live their real lives in front of cameras. They aren't just performing lines, they are exposing their relationships, emotions, and vulnerabilities. When contracts put financial chains on their personal freedom, it raises serious questions about consent and exploitation. Legal experts have weighed in on the matter, explaining that contracts forcing someone to stay married might not be enforceable. The law protects personal freedom, especially in intimate relationships like marriage. A clause that punishes someone for ending a marriage could be challenged in court for coercion or duress. Coercion happens when a person is forced to act against their will because of threats or pressure. If Elizabeth's contract threatened a $50,000 fine to keep her from leaving Andrei, that could be seen as coercive. Duress refers to situations where a person signs a contract under pressure without freely agreeing to the terms. If a court found that the fine was unfair or illegal, it could set a precedent affecting many reality TV contracts. Other cast members might come forward, revealing similar experiences. This could lead to a larger investigation into how reality shows operate behind the scenes. TLC could face legal challenges, not only from cast members but possibly from watchdog organizations concerned with workers' rights and mental health. Reality stars are often treated as independent contractors, but their experiences raise questions about the protections they have and whether networks take advantage of loopholes. The psychological impact on Elizabeth cannot be underestimated. Living under a financial threat while dealing with personal conflicts is extremely stressful. It might explain why she often appeared guarded or cautious during arguments, why her emotional responses seemed controlled or muted. Fans remember moments where she seemed on the verge of breaking down,